So, dear guests and dear colleagues, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to everybody here. We are very happy to have you here today. Some of you are here also from China, so hello China, and we are happy to have you also here. We are the URBANIX alumni project in the field of urbanization from China Center Technische Universität Berlin. We welcome you to our second China Lunch lecture in this semester. The name of this big event is Rurban China Lunch. Why Rurban? In this series of China lunches, we are looking at rural-urban relations in China today. For the whole series, we have invited three excellent researchers. Eva Linnem, she presented her research last month. Today, we are happy to welcome Ahmadjan Rouzi from Beijing. And next month, in July, we are glad to have Lena Kaufmann from Zurich. And she will present her research on the 5th of July. So note this. How is this event, Rural China Lunch, organized? My colleague Kim Beze will briefly introduce our URBANIX project to you. Afterwards, I will lead over to Mr. Rouzi's presentation and briefly introduce his research. After the presentation of about 30 to 35 minutes, we hope to have a vivid discussion with you about Mr. Rouzi's lecture and research in the field of sustainable, smart agriculture in China. What is China Lunch and why we call it lunch? In every invitation of our lectures, you will also find a suggestion for making a Chinese delicious dish, a recipe that should help you to prepare this meal at home. Today is our suggestion a favorite meal of Ahmadjan Rouzi, our speaker, called Uyghur Pilaf or Polo. In the past, we used to meet in the university and eat together after the lecture and the discussion. Unfortunately, we cannot longer do this together, but each of us can prepare the food at home and enjoy it after the lecture. It creates a sense of community and togetherness. China lunches help us to talk about many important topics regarding China and urbanization and to exchange and get to know each other better. So now will Kim introduce our URBANIX project to you, to the audience. Please, Kim.
Thank you, Tanya, for this nice intro. Yes, welcome everyone. I'm very happy that you are here today. We are nearly 30 persons. My name is Kim, and together with my colleague Paul Hoffmann, we are the assistants of the URBANIX project. And instead of explaining too much to you, Paul did a great image movie for us, and I'd like to show it now. Thank you for watching. This is our team. Mrs. Abels, Mrs. Zhou, and Mrs. Becker are our research assistants and leaders, project leaders. And Paul and me, we are the student assistants of the project. And now Tanya is going to introduce Ahmadjan today.
So thank you, Kim. Now I have to pin and unpin moment a little bit. Yes. Pin. Okay. I hope you can see me now. So our speaker today is Dr. Ahmadjan Rouzi. He obtained a PhD in geography from the Catholic University of Eichstätt and a Master of Science in Landscape, Ecology and Nature Conservation from the University of Greifswald, Germany. As an DAD alumni, alumnus, he stayed at Technische Universität Berlin as a visiting fellow in 2017. So we met at that time, and since then we've stayed in touch until today. He works as an advisor on agricultural sustainability at the Sino-German Agriculture Center in Beijing. In his professional and academic career, Dr. Rouzi worked on sustainable land management, sustainable agriculture, smart agriculture, climate change, water management, and urban greening related projects with a regional focus on China and Central Asia. Dr. Rouzi has cultivated deep academic and professional ties to Germany. The title of today's presentation, Sustainable Smart Agriculture in China, describes already Ahmadjan's current research. Chinese agriculture has experienced dramatic changes and transitions in the last 70 years from collective farming to household responsibility. This talk intends to outline history of agriculture policy changes and their consequences on rural areas and farmers in China until today. So Ahmadjan, we're very happy to have you here today, and we are looking forward to your presentation now.
Hello, Tanya, and hello, everybody. And Tanya, thank you very much for such a kind and generous introduction. I was very happy to get to know Tanya, Sigrun, and also Johannes, which I have known for a very long time. So I enjoyed my time at Technical University of Berlin in 2017 and was able to learn about your ongoing activities and projects. So today, my topic is sustainable smart agriculture in China. So my presentation includes my personal bio and also what I'm doing at DCZ, Sino-German Agricultural Center in Beijing. Then I would introduce you the general agricultural situation in China. Then I will tell you a story of agricultural policy changes since 1949. So there will be a brief history of agricultural policies since 1949. Then I would introduce you to current agricultural policies. Then in the later portion of my presentation, I would mostly focus on smart and digital agriculture in China and challenges. So Tanya has already introduced me, and so I was really lucky to get the DAD scholarship, where I studied in the University of Greifswald in landscape ecology, and later I finished my PhD in geography. So currently I'm working as an advisor for agricultural sustainability and DCZ. So DCZ. DCZ is a Sino-German Agriculture Center. In German, it's Deutsch-Chinesisch Agrazentrum. So it's like the abbreviation from German. So this project, this center is a platform which was established in 2015 in collaboration with German Ministry of Food and Agriculture and also Chinese Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. So the project is implemented by IAK, it's a consulting company in Germany, and we have also a Chinese partner here in Chinese Ministry of Agriculture called FECC, which is Foreign Exchange Cooperation Center. We also work with IAMO and also Chinese Chinese Academy of Agricultural Science. So it is so in our center, we are a platform to exchange ideas and practices between Germany and China with regards to agriculture. We have three main components. One is agricultural policy dialogue, and also agricultural business dialogue, and also science and technology dialogue. So I am, as a junior expert, I work for mostly for the policy dialogue, but also I help my colleague Eva Stanfeld for her work in science and technology dialogue. So there we go. Situation of agriculture in China. As you know, China is a very populous country with a population of 1.4 billion, and the farm population is about 500 million. So if you compare to Germany, which is very small, very big, the farm population, and the agricultural share of land use. So the area of China is 9.6 million square kilometers. Arable land is about 1.4 million square kilometers. So in Germany, I read one farmer can produce enough food for 140 people, but in China, it's about 3 people. So the efficiency of agriculture and farming in China is much less compared to Germany. I will get into some reasons, and yeah. So as you can, this is per capita land and water endowment in China compared to selected countries. As we look at land endowment, so land for per capita in China is about 0.08 hectare per person. So if you compare it to United States, which is about 0.48, or to Australia, which is about 2, which is much less. So the countries like US, Brazil, Russia, Australia, Canada has a much larger farmlands and also smaller population size. So in China's per capita land resources is somewhat similar to India's. So that means how much stress the land in China is under to produce enough food for the people. And the situation is similar to, the situation is very similar with regards to water. So water is about 2.1 cubic kilometers of water per person. And if you compare it to US or Canada, which is like highest 80 cubic meters per person, so it's very small. So the most of the areas in China, especially in central and western China, we have a very severe water scarcity, and that's also one of the reasons why Chinese agricultural efficiency is quite low. So, agricultural regions in China. So if you look at the southern China, like the Guangdong, Hainan, or Fujian provinces, they mainly produce rice, and sometimes it's up to 4 times of harvest. And if we look at lower section of Yangtze River, it's mainly also rice, but the harvest is about 1 to twice a year. And then we look at the upper portion of Yangtze River, it's mainly winter wheat and millet, corn, soybean, etc. And then we look at Huanghe Yellow River, it's mostly winter wheat. And then if you look at northeastern China, it's mainly corn. And the western China, mostly livestock breeding, but also cotton farming is quite prevalent in Xinjiang, and etc. So in 1978, China had 10% of arable land in the world, and that situation has not changed in 2018. But the population was 22%, and then now it's 18%. So you can see China has much smaller resource of arable land, but it has to feed almost 20% of the world population. So we can see how much land, how much pressure we have on the land to produce enough food. So the crop and food crop area in China since 1990 increased somewhat, but it has not been a great change. And I will also explain in my later slides. So, but food production increased since 1980 due to utilization of modern agricultural machineries and technologies, and recently use of genetic engineering and improvement in seeds and breeding also contributed to increase in food production. Map of croplands in China, as you can see. So most areas in the coastal areas in the north and south, the croplands are rain-fed, but the croplands in more interior regions and also in western regions, it's more irrigation oriented. So there is not enough rainfall. So the agriculture in these areas depends on irrigation. So the per unit production of rice and wheat and corn has increased, in some cases doubled or tripled since 1978. And the same can be said to other agricultural products like meat, aquatic products, food, and grain. And this is due to technology and utilization of agri-machinery and etc. So now I want to talk about agricultural trade. If you look at agricultural trade of China since 1985, China used to be net food exporting country until 2005. Since 2005, the situation has changed. Now China is net food importing country, because not only Chinese people's quality of life and per capita income has increased, so Chinese people would like to eat more meat and different agricultural products. So there was more demand for agricultural importation from other countries. So in 2019, agricultural food imports stand around $160 billion. Export is around $80 billion. Yes. So major import partners are ASEAN, European Union, United States, and Latin America. And main exporting partners are ASEAN, European Union, United States, and Latin America, and Australia. So main agricultural imports are feed products like corn and soybeans, and also meat products like pork and milk and beef, etc. And 2018, we had an outbreak of African swine flu in China. So more than a third of the old pigs were slaughtered. So there was a shortage of pork in China in 2019. So that led to huge pork import from Europe, US, and Latin America. But also China is promoting agricultural trade with Belt and Road countries. And you probably know Chinese President Xi Jinping initiated Belt and Road Initiative in 2013 to revitalize ancient Silk Road and to build a network of trade and development routes along the Silk Road. It mainly includes countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, South Asia, but also Russia and Eastern Europe. So now Chinese agricultural imports from this country stands around $29 billion, which is about 22% of total imports. And China is promoting its agricultural trade with these countries because China wants to diversify its import. Now, China mostly relies on the United States, European Union, and Latin America for imports, and due to geopolitical tensions, and China wants to diversify its agricultural imports. So now I'm going to talk about history of agricultural policies in China. First, let's start with collectivization in 1949. Before 1949, most land in China was owned by rich people, and the vast majority of people were peasants. But after the Great Revolution and establishment of People's Republic of China, all lands were collectivized and then distributed to farmers. But again, it was re-collectivized during the Great Leap Forward, and of course that led to many policy failures and famine. So a lot of different policies implemented in this period was very unsuccessful, and it brought a lot of damage to both the ecological system, farming, and also Chinese people. And this is a propaganda poster from that era. So then, as you all know, 1979, China under Deng Xiaoping started reform and opening up policies. And those policies also applied to agriculture. So it was in agriculture, the government introduced a household responsibility system in which farmers, the farmlands will be contracted to farmers for 15 years. So they would be responsible for the land use rights and production of products in this period. So that led to rural commodity development. So that led to rural commodity development, because before that, all the rural commodities, agricultural products were also centrally produced and organized, and there was food rationing. But after that, so the agricultural sector started privatization. So and that policy of household responsibility was proposed in 1982's #1 document. Then what is #1 document? #1 document is very important policy document, which is released every year after Chinese New Year by Chinese State Council. And generally, this document sets broad policy directives and guidelines for agriculture and rural affairs. So in Sino-German Agriculture Center, we closely follow the release of these documents and produce timely analysis and policy briefs. So, and that document is widely watched by farmers, agri-food traders, and policymakers. And now let's get to the changes from mid-1980s to late 1990s. So, and mid-1980s, household registration system, HUKO. So in China, we have a household registration system where the government classifies people and citizens as rural resident and urban resident. So before 1985, it was very hard to change somebody's residence. So if you are born as a urban resident, you will be urban resident forever. But if you are born as a rural resident, it was very hard before then. But in mid-1980s, the policies was policy was relaxed. So now many farmers can change their residence to cities so they can work as migrant workers. And of course, that led to the great industrialization of China. But at the same time, it led to rise of township and village enterprises. And in 1993, #1 document extended household responsibility to 30 years. So now the farmers have much longer time period and more stability to plan and produce for their farms. But because of these relaxations and improvement and growth in both in industry and agricultural sector, there was a huge land reclamation campaign. So that led to environmental degradation, soil degradation. So as you can see, so we had the sandstorms and all kinds of environmental issues in this period. So these issues become much more prominent in late 1990s. As you know, the great sandstorms in Beijing and eastern Chinese cities become much more common. So then further reform in early 2000s to mid 2010. So in 2006, agricultural taxes was totally abolished. It was quite significant because agricultural taxes was present in China since 2000 years. So it was a great relief for farmers in the beginning, but of course later the benefits of these abolishment dwindled because now the price of farm products did not increase, so farmers could not keep up with the inflation, so their economic situation has not improved that significantly. So rural medical and pension insurance was introduced during this period, and regulation of transfer of land use rights. So now a farmer would like to give up and transfer land use rights of his or her land, now it is allowed. So that led to land consolidation by big agri companies and cooperatives, and also there was a farmer cooperative initiatives. So to rectify and improve this environmental degradation from this massive land reclamation and other developments, government introduced Grain for Green program. In this program, a farmer give up claiming this land or growing crops, and then returns this land to its natural state, like a grassland or forest. Then they could get a subsidy or a food or a grain. So it was the policy was designed to encourage farmers to stop reclaiming new lands, and also further destroy environment. And this is one of the examples from Shanxi province. So they built these the greening projects to control sand, and we have similar examples also in Xinjiang. Now, 2014 to present. And 2014 to present, major policy focus now is poverty alleviation and rural revitalization. As you know, China become more industrialized and more urbanized. Many farmers left cities. So cities, just like in Germany or in other Western countries, the villages and rural areas just in other industrialized countries started to decline. So the government come up with some policies to revitalize these areas to keep population there, to ensure food security. So the effect of these policies has to be scene. So in 2010, the government declared eradication of absolute rural poverty. And so rural revitalization now become a main focus of Chinese agricultural policy. So, and that was also set in Chinese 14th five-year plan, and also goes to 2035. So China intends to complete modernization of agriculture and modernization of countryside. And smart agriculture and digitalization is also becoming major focus. Current Chinese agricultural policies. Again, I would like to focus on 14th five-year plan and 2035 long-term goals. And according to these documents, the government wants to prioritize development of agricultural and rural areas to promote rural revitalization, so that would further intensify rural reform. So there was also a concept of dual circulation, which can be applied to both industry and agriculture. In the case of agriculture, that means China can produce enough food for the people domestically, but also China can trade with other countries with regards to agricultural products. And seed and breeding sector is also mentioned as a key sector to develop to tackle those issues. Food security. So what is the policymakers' policy to ensure food security? So there is a red line. So the red line is to keep the arable lands at 120 million hectares. So it should not go lower than that. And also keep grain production at 650 million tons. So since last year, there was also a strict ban on conversion of agricultural land to non-agricultural lands, which is quite common in China, especially in different local governments, like municipalities or village governments sell lands to commercial developers to build housing, industrial complexes, and that phenomenon is more or less banned. The import diversification is also a key aspect of food security. So how China produce food, and China more or less self-sufficient in producing grains, especially rice and wheat, but depends on import for corn and also soybeans, and also significant portion of meat products like pork and beef is also imported. To solve these food security issue, China not only trying to improve the production and agricultural sector in China, but also looking for external solutions. So Chinese agro companies are going out to Latin America and Africa, buying land and also renting land to produce agricultural products, generally feed products like corn and soybean for Chinese meat producers. So, and also food waste prevention is emphasized in recent years, and food waste law is adopted in 2021. Rural revitalization. So government set up this strategy until 2022. And this year, National Rural Revitalization Bureau was established under MARA. So it's a significant step, and the government is taking this issue very seriously. And so the promotion of rural revitalization law was also adopted, and the provincial government intends to set up 500 pilot zones for agricultural modernization. And also there is a campaign called 10,000 enterprises in 10,000 villages. Poverty alleviation. So as I introduced in previous slides, so in 2020 was a year that China achieved eradication of absolute poverty, which is defined like 4,000 yuan per year, $620 a year. But of course, some scholars dispute this number, and they say China is already in upper middle income category according to the classification of World Bank. So China should set up a higher limit. So in this year's #1 policy document, it said there should be a 5-year transition period to consolidate achievements of poverty alleviation. So more social services should be provided, like medical, unemployment and retirement and pension insurance. And so there should be more job creation to keep people employed. But the major problem is household registration system is still in place, although it was relaxed compared to the past. So it's still hard for rural residents to change their residence to cities, and also to encourage urban residents to move back to cities. It is very unattractive because whether it's school, whether it's like the residence classification, so especially young people feel like it's not like advantageous to move back to villages. So many Chinese rural areas are losing population, just like in Germany. As we can see, most of these poverty regions are in western part of China, mostly in Qinghai, Tibet, and some in Xinjiang, and also in Mongolia and Yunnan provinces. So, as I said, Chinese agriculture is under so much stress, and there's many problems because lack of land and water and very low efficiency in production. So government is trying to change the situation by using modern technology, especially digitalization and smart agriculture. And government set up guidelines on how to implement and transform Chinese agriculture to smart and digital oriented until 2025. So different provinces in localities like Jiangsu province and Fujian province and Shandong province, they already started with their pilot projects and etc. Seed and breeding sector also become major focus of policymakers because seed and breeding sector is quite vital to increase not only production but quality of agricultural products. So the big international companies like Monsanto, I think now it's integrated into Bayer, I guess, control large portion of seed and genetic engineering technology and patents. So China also wants to develop its own technology with regards to seed and breeding. So it was mentioned in Chinese government's various government documents. And 2019, the government established Nanfang Center for Seed and Animal Breeding in Hainan province, and it is dubbed as Southern Silicon Valley for China. So it would be like a new hub for this genetic engineering and seed and breeding technology in China. Sustainable agriculture, and last year, Chinese President Xi Jinping also declared China intends to be carbon neutral by 2060. So agriculture has a lot of role to play, and the emissions from carbon in agricultural sector is quite significant, around 5%. So Chinese agriculture also in this aspect has many opportunities and challenges. So, and State Council also offered various guidelines to deal with these issues. And yes, and also promotion and standardization of green food is also proposed. Now, I want to talk about smart agriculture in China. What is smart agriculture actually? So smart agriculture is integrated system where various sensors and devices like drones evaluate timely data, and then it will be integrated in data centers and cloud platforms. And then those decisions and data will be provided to end user, and in this case, farmer, to make timely decisions on whether it's irrigation or production or harvest of the crops or animals, etc. So the goal of the system is to improve production and quality, but also monitor the agriculture by modern technology. So in this case, we have for the farmers as an end user, but we have also other 3 domains like device domains, so various different sensors which measure whether for crops, measure temperature or soil parameters, etc. For animals, other parameters, and also these kind of instruments can be installed in tractors and different machineries. And those data will send it to cloud and data centers by network signals like 4G or 5G. And then these data will be processed in different platforms. And then the result of these data or decisions will be sent to farmers, which he or she can access by phone, smartphone, or iPad or computer. So it is estimated by 2020, there will be more than 1 billion gigabytes of data will be generated in agriculture sector. So now it's becoming very important. So 65%, so these technologies like webcams will be used to monitor the health and the health of the animals, and also different sensor can measure the parameters related to crops, and also we have autonomous field robots and etc. So driverless tractors, etc. Last year I did a review study on application of blockchain in the agriculture. So I want to talk about the blockchain in the agriculture sector. So blockchain is actually the blockchain was first used in cryptocurrencies. So the bunch of computers calculate different algorithms. So then they build up the trusted network. So then it would generate coins, right? As we know, as Bitcoins and different cryptocurrencies. So now blockchain has been used in other sectors like finance and also in agriculture. So in agriculture, blockchain is mainly used in food supply traceability and transparency. So where consumer, farmer, retailer, and transporter, everybody in the supply chain of food products can trace these products, how it is being produced, with which amount of fertilizer, etc., and how it's being transported and stored and delivered to consumer. So the whole process is very detailed and transparent. So in that situation, so the consumer have a higher level of confidence in the product they're buying. And it is especially important for a country like China. Trust in food and and these products is quite low because we had many incidents relating these tainted milk, or etc. So this kind of technology is very appealing to Chinese consumers. So it can be used also in agricultural insurance and financing, smart farm data management, e-commerce of agri-food products. This is also becoming very popular in China. Now farmers can sell their products to different Chinese retail and video sharing platforms where they introduce their, let's say, fruits or whatnot, and then they can directly get customers and deliver their these agri products directly to farmers. So in this aspect, it's becoming also very useful. So blockchain can be used in all these areas. So this technology has been also supported by government. In 2019, President Xi Jinping gave a speech in which he said we should see the opportunities of blockchain and technology in agriculture. Since then, various blockchain initiatives has started in China and becoming more of a focus. And in 2019, also China started pilot projects of digital yuan in Shenzhen. Now that project has also introduced to Beijing and many other provinces. And so before digital yuan, we had WeChat Pay and Alipay. So it's like digital payment services, but now it is directly controlled by Chinese central banks. So that led to other central banks in the world, like Federal Reserve in the US and European Central Bank, to plan introducing digital currencies. So the digital currencies, of course, is somewhat controversial. It has many benefits, so it makes society cashless and very convenient. But of course, people also has concern to data privacy and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So now I'm going to introduce some examples of blockchain. Okay, I have 3 pages left. First is Go Chicken. This is a blockchain project initiated in Jiangsu province. In this case, they have a chicken and bird farm where the chickens are tagged and their every movement is monitored. And then the consumers can also trace the health and how they are raised when they buy these chickens. So second one is Walmart and IBM and Tsinghua University is also teaming up to establish blockchain so that the consumers can trace different agricultural products. Lastly, I would like to say Huawei also coming up with different smart farm cloud platforms and for the same purpose. And they had a pilot project in Qingdao where they grow this Yalongping developed salt-resistant rice. So challenges for blockchain application or broader smart agricultural technology in China, scaling and coordination is a big problem, and competence and digital skills, especially of farmers, they tend to be older and less educated. And also digital infrastructure, although it has been improved in cities, so the villages and rural areas investment part has to catch up. But of course, recently Chinese government also increased oversight in big tech. As you know, some of the big tech are accused of a monopoly, like where the government opened up investigation on Alibaba or Tencent or different tech companies. And also ongoing US-China tech war has a big impact on blockchain or digital agriculture because of the US banning of some American companies providing chips and software to China. So my presentation is over. Thank you very much. Now, I am open to discussion.
Thank you very much, Ahmadjan. Thank you for your very nice presentation. And now I stop the recording and we can start the discussion.